how your day was?
It was intense.
Yeah. It's literally the most ridiculous thing I've ever done.
It's quite intense. I feel like I'm more of a badass now for doing this.
Yeah. Okay, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, what is this project all about?
Well, we're trying to keep the caribou off of these seismic lines.
So there's Matt Cat Andrew, and he decides he's going to save the woodland caribou. There's these lines crisscrossing the wilderness everywhere, and wolves can see the caribou from a long way away.
Well, we would like to deactivate linear disturbances, historic linear disturbances, and in doing that, restore caribou habitat. These locations tend to be highways for wolves, and so if we're putting them back into forest, then we're making it more difficult for the wolves to take out the caribou.
So, Andrew throws together this motley crew of people and heads off into the willywags. That's his word for boonies, wilderness, or middle of nowhere. The goal is to close the lines right now to save the caribou, and also try to keep them permanently closed, restoring the wilderness back to the way it was. So, how in the world do you keep caribou and wolves from using these lines that we've blasted through the forest? Well, this involves a combination of short and long-term solutions. In the long term, you want to see the trees and plants grow up to match the ecology that was there before. But there's no point in planting trees and bushes to save the caribou if they go extinct in the short term. So while the trees and shrubs are taking their time to grow, we can block the lines with natural materials available to us on site. There are trees we can drop across the line, we can transplant vegetation from the forest onto the line. If there's already fairly good growth on the line, then we can send in a team to hand treat it. This saves budget for harder to treat areas and reduces any more impact on the line than is absolutely necessary. So Andrew's got this recipe for success.
Health, safety, environment, reputation is more important than quality, is more important than time, is more important than cost. Where cost is the outcome and not the driver.
Cost being the outcome and not the driver allows for a more holistic business practice. It allows for a broader set of values and therefore a larger return on investment to the client.
On the health and safety end is having workers, the most qualified, the highest caliber workers continually working for you is always a good return on investment. On the environmental end, we don't want to try to do work to improve a condition and then create other environmental conditions. So we're thinking beyond our site preparation and reclamation work in the field. We're trying to think multiple steps out. What kinds of plants are we using in the field? What are the impacts? Deer presence, for example, and what would that mean to the wolf and the wolf wanting to come to that area? The reputational issue is a big one. It's a big question in everything we do. We're asking, what does this mean to the reputation, and what are the consequences of poor management. We know that it will take very little for the public to look at this and find a reason to discount all of the good work. So reputation has been a huge one as well. And because our workforce, we've got a really broad workforce. We have some regional people, we've had some Aboriginal people, we've had people from across the country work on this project. And one of the things that's, I think, is really a hidden gem is their power to spread the message of what's occurring beyond the 6 o'clock news. They're the ones that are in the cafes. They're the ones that are in the lecture halls of the universities that are presenting a different perspective that you don't get to hear about. And so that's, I think, a real powerful part. On quality, our view is first time, right time, every time. That it is less expensive to do the job right than it is to come back in and fix up poor work. And then time. If we don't have the time to do the work properly, if we don't have the time to do the work safely, then we don't have time to do the work. And we need to stop and say, okay, either we change the scope or we come back at a different time when we can do it to meet the specs.
Well, that's all we got for the RICC 2018 project, winter version. But if you're around in the summer, we would love for you to come visit us in the field.